sense of the variety of the book. Uncertainties. Eyes like this? I don't know. Try to remember. Take a good look. Bigger? More slanted? I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to her eyes. What were you paying attention to? She wants to start crying again. The man's hostile expression stops her. You've got to tell me something, otherwise I can't do my work. We can't draw the portrait. But I don't know, she's shouting now. Just an ordinary woman, black. The man's eyes seem to be telling her that she's a racist who thinks all blacks look alike. She shakes her head while desperately trying to figure out how to make him understand. I was afraid of having an accident, and besides, I felt like I was bleeding a lot, so I had to rush to the bathroom to urinate and to clean up. The woman was there, next to me, sitting there. She was the only one who didn't take off when the bus pulled up, so I asked her to hold the baby for me while I went to the bathroom. And you didn't even look at her? You gave your newborn son to a woman you didn't know without even looking at her? Now she can't hold back the sobs anymore. Once again, she sees herself handing over the tiny bundle wrapped in the small embroidered sheet. She can visualize the miniature fist that found its way out and waved around for a moment, the movement disturbing the baby's sleep. She had looked at him, not at the woman, or no, she must have looked at the woman, who must have seemed like a clean and decent person, able to take care of a baby. So why can't she now remember her appearance, at least her clothes? Someone offers her water. She drinks between sobs. Giving back the plastic cup, she encounters the serious face of a policewoman, fat and redheaded, who takes the cup and moves away from the computer where the police artist is getting more and more impatient. Look, I'm going to keep showing you figures and you tell me when they look like her. She makes an effort to concentrate. On the screen, the face keeps changing and she starts to feel fear, an irrational and violent fear. The same fear that made her run out of the room when the college aptitude test was being given, which is why she didn't study any profession. She knows she won't be able to identify what the blessed woman looked like, the damn woman who stole her son, the evil bitch who went running out of the bus station with the baby in her arms, a baby who didn't belong to her. This never would have happened if someone had been with her, if her mother or her sister-in-law had come from Barajagua to pick her up at the hospital instead of telling her to squeeze into one of the ancient American cars that ferried passengers from the bus station to nearby towns. Barely able to walk because of the stitches, she had held tight to the telephone receiver as her last hope because the baby was crying and her breast had no milk, and the others all looked at her resentfully because she didn't know how to calm him, and nobody had been able to sleep, and everybody just wanted her to leave. But she didn't have anyone and didn't know what to do. I can't come, her mother's voice said. Anyway, the round trip would cost more, so go to the bus station and catch a car. I have to get things ready here. Fear. It was fear, and from then on she knew she couldn't, knew something bad would occur. No, you just don't want to cooperate. Now you're hiding your eyes so you can't see. She cries. Tears are her only way out. Why don't they realize that she simply can't? The door slams, and when she uncovers her eyes, she sees she's alone. On the screen is the face of a woman with puffy cheeks, bulging eyes, broad nose, and no mouth or chin. It looks monstrous, like the mutilated faces that sometimes appear in war reports on TV. How much time has passed? How long has that phantom woman had her son? The door opens, and now it's the detective, looking very serious, with the artist behind him, still angry. The detective pulls up a chair and sits in front of her, looking into her eyes as if he wants to climb inside her head. You have to calm down, ma'am. You have to make an effort. Consider that we have to find this woman as soon as possible for the good of the child. If you don't remember her face, you must remember her clothes, something that can help us locate her, something we can use to question the drivers and the porters in the terminal. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do anything. But a woman carrying a newborn can't just evaporate. Someone must have seen her leave. The only one they describe is you. Many people remember you with the baby, but no one saw a black woman such as you described. You're at least sure that she's black, is that right? Fear. The detective's eyes frighten her. The tone of his voice is hiding something. This business of calling her usted as if she were older, the same way her mother still does when scolding her. No one saw a black woman with the baby. Could she have been wrong about the color of the woman's skin? Maybe her subconscious had betrayed her because of all the times she'd been threatened as a girl with the tale of the black man who would carry her off in his sack if she didn't eat all her dinner, or if she wouldn't go to sleep. No, impossible. She knows she's not crazy. The woman was black. I swear it. Don't swear anything. Just tell me again what you said to her when you handed over the child and what she answered you. What she said. She asked whether the woman could hold the baby while she went to the bathroom. Could you take the baby for a minute? Or was it, could you take the baby for me while I go to the bathroom for a minute? I'm afraid I'm going to pee in my pants. Or had she not said that last part? Just thought it. What did the woman answer back? She said yes, that it wasn't any trouble. Like that exactly, in those words. She didn't say anything about the baby or where she was headed. She didn't tell you to hurry because she was on the point of leaving. You did take a long time, didn't you? Yes, she had taken a long time. The bathroom was filthy, and she had to change and then find water in a barrel to wash her hands. But it wasn't that long, and it wasn't her fault. Why did they keep trying to make her feel guilty? I want you to call my mother. I want her to come. Fine, we'll call her, but your mother wasn't there. She didn't see the woman, and the more time that passes, the more risk for the baby. Oh, do you think? The voice strangles in her chest while she imagines a bloody ritual. They sacrifice goats, don't they? Chickens, doves? Now the detective is looking as angry as the artist. I don't think anything. What I know is that the baby is only 2 days old and needs his mother's milk. I don't have any milk. The man looks at her as if she's a Martian, as if she just said the last thing he expected to hear. It's the truth. I don't have any milk. The baby was crying all night and trying to nurse. I thought I'd go crazy. I was going to give him a bottle as soon as we got home. The detective looks at the artist as if asking if they're dealing with a mad woman. They must be convinced that she's completely out of her mind. The baby was crying when you gave him to the woman? The fist waves in the air for a brief second. He was asleep. The two men exchanged glances again. And did the way she held the child give you confidence? Did it seem to you that she knew how to take care of him? She doesn't know how to answer this. She hadn't even thought about it. But yes, there are different ways to hold a baby. The nurse acted as if they were all made of rubber. In the maternity ward, there were women who held them naturally in a skilled fashion, and others like herself who looked afraid the babies would slip from their arms. This woman held the baby well, or didn't she? Actually, the woman took him from her arms as if she'd been expecting to be asked for this favor. So that's about halfway through the story. Do you want to hear the rest, or do you want to hear the beginning of another one?
More.
Keep going. All right.
Can I read some?
Yeah, you want to read some in English? Sure.
My English is not as good as him.
She tells.
Or you can just read off the page, it's okay.
She tells this to the detective, but he doesn't seem happy that she has finally remembered something. On the contrary, he leans toward her and his next question has an accusing tone. That's why you took so long in the bathroom? You seized the opportunity to rest a bit? She shakes her head no, they're horrified. How can they think that? Although it's true, it was a relief that when the woman agreed to take a child, her arms and back were hurting and her bladder was about to burst. Maybe she could have hurried more. Maybe she hoped that when she got back, the woman would stay with her, would take charge of the baby, because she'd been so afraid. It wasn't just the thought of the trip home. All night long, while she listened to the baby crying, while she watched his tiny miniature lips seeking a nearly flat nipple, yes, that kept on escaping them, she had thought about what her life would be like from then on, because her mother had warned her straight out. This is your child. I've got enough to do caring for your brother's kid, so you can forget about parties and going out. If at least Ruben had taken some responsibility, it wasn't fair that she had to confront everything alone. She needed someone to tell her what to do, to teach her, someone who wasn't accusing her all the time. The woman had been friendly. She'd been happy to take the baby, had done it with pleasure, with caring. Yes, indeed, she had felt relieved. I was happy that she was helping me, but that's not a bad thing, is it? The detective leans back in the chair and lets the tension ease out of his body. Then he leans towards her again. Look, if you made an agreement with her, tell me so. Now Usted has gone out of the window. He's addressing her as tu. Everything can be worked out, but you have to be honest with me. What do you mean, an agreement? The man grows impatient once again. Did you give her the baby? Now it's her turn to lean away. The fear is back, hitting her full in the face. How can you believe I would give away my son? The nurse said that you talked about giving him away to another mother who offered him her breast. I was joking. She had said it, yes, when she saw the baby let go of the nipple with the drop of milk trickling down his chin. The other woman had full breasts with large, upright nipples, very dark. Her son had fallen asleep against the other woman's body, perfectly comfortable in her arm, as if he belonged to her. I'll have to give him away to you. She had said it in pain and envy, but also with relief, because it was past 4 in the morning and finally she could get a little sleep. It had been the nurse herself who suggested asking that other mother for help. She's overflowing with milk. Pass him over there. And then to claim she had wanted to give him away. It wasn't her fault that her milk hadn't come in, or that she didn't know how to hold him. She loved her son. How could she not love him? So tiny, so curled up. It scared her to touch him, to hurt him, because she didn't know how to do things. That's why she'd been happy for someone else to take charge. Someone with more experience, for the good of the baby, because she loved him. The detective lowers his head for a few moments. When he speaks, he does so with the kind of determination that seems to be building a wall around her. Look, during the time you were in the bathroom, a bus left for Moa and another for Hibara. And there were 3 cars taking on passengers, but not black or white women with a newborn departed in any of them. And no one arrived in Moa or Hibara either. So that woman, if she exists, either stayed where she was or went somewhere else to find transportation. Either way, someone would have seen her. If she was sitting in the bus station, it was because she was going someplace. What if she was waiting for someone? She interrupted before the wall can close around him, can close her in. The detective looks at her in annoyance. She would have been outside. I don't suppose you remember either whether she had a suitcase or any boxes or bags? I didn't see them. His half smile indicates that this is the answer he's expecting. She wants to invent that the woman had a green suitcase, to tell she was tall and skinny with wide eyes and a kerchief on her head. Why the hell doesn't she remember anything? Maybe they are right. Maybe she doesn't want to. Why has she gone to sit inside the station instead of going where the cars were? The taxi driver who brought her from the hospital had given her a pitying look, saying, God be with you, poor thing. Suddenly she had felt weak. That's why she'd gone inside the terminal, and the woman had been right there, facing the door, and had pointed to the seat next to her, even giving it a little pat to invite her to sit down. Now she remembers this. She wants to tell the detective, but she's afraid. How can she remember the woman doing that but not be able to describe her appearance? She shuts her eyes and knits her forehead in an effort to reconstruct it all. He has to see it all again. She sat down, and the woman was friendly, smiled at her. Or maybe not. Did she ask a question about the baby? Was the woman also appalled that she was going home with the baby alone? Did she say it would have been better to have gone in an ambulance? If she asked the woman to hold the baby, it must have been because they had already talked some. Because she wouldn't have trusted just anyone. The woman had a motherly look. That's it. The woman did what her own mother would have done if only she'd been there. A grandmother happy about her new grandson, not one scared off by the idea of supporting a baby that came into the world without a father to acknowledge it, and with an unreliable mother. How many times had she repeated that? The best thing that could happen to you would be to lose this baby. How can you expect to support a child if you can't even support yourself? Maybe it's best, after all, for that woman to have the baby. By now, she's giving him milk in a bottle, and she's rocking his cradle, and she doesn't mind staying up all night watching over him because she hasn't just given birth, and she doesn't have stitches that are hurting her. And for sure, she's got her own house and a husband and a salary. Maybe they talked about all this, but she doesn't remember. Maybe she gave her the baby, and after the woman left, she had to go to the bathroom, and that's when the mental block occurred, one of those things that happen sometimes in movies, so that when she came out, she didn't remember anything, because if she really did it, then she's a monster, a woman who doesn't love her child, and gives it away to the first stranger she meets. which she cannot admit to anyone, and that's why she has to scream, "Oh God!" So everyone turns to look at her, and then she screams, "My baby! What happened to my baby?" So everybody comes over and makes a scene, and the policeman appears, and the chief supervisor, and a doctor in a white coat and all, while she screams and screams. Everybody asks her what the woman looks like, and she says, "The black woman who was sitting right there, who I left my baby with." Everybody looks at each other, and someone says, "I didn't see any black woman. I mean, any lady with a baby in her arms." She opens her eyes because someone else has come in and is whispering in the detective's ear. He gets up and leaves. Somebody slams the door, but it doesn't latch. Something must have happened, or else why so much hurry? When she tries to get up, her knees are shaky. Without knowing why, she covers her mouth as if to stifle a scream. Her hands are sweaty and cold. She dries them on her dress and manages to get to her feet. There are voices outside, a man's and a woman's, loud voices, all talking at once, that she can't make out. She goes into the hallway, and there, in the entrance lobby, she sees a group of police, and among them a tall black man whose head rises above the police. His gestures are those of a desperate man. Then she sees the red-headed policewoman with her back turned, evidently hugging something against her chest. Her heart gives such a jolt that it almost leaps from her body. She runs, forgetting the stitches which tug at her skin with every movement of her legs. The hallway is interminably long. When she gets to the lobby, the black man is saying, "Trying so long and hard to have the children has driven her crazy." And yes, the redhead is hugging and rocking the child. She stops in front of the redhead and holds out her arms to take him. Only then does she see the woman, who is being held down on a bench by two others who seem to be her relatives. They have to hold her very firmly to keep her from getting up, especially now that she has seen who has come and is trying to get hold of the baby. The woman's cry drills into her ears, and it's as if she were on fire inside. "He's mine! She gave him up! She gave him to me!"